Good morning, my loves. I wanted to come in and give you a quick energy update. This weekend is really going to be powerful for a lot of you, where there will be a definite shift, but also where you're in situations where there is like a rock in a hard place or some kind of struggle, but where you can see that your approach and take on this is much different than how you would have been before. Something has you with a glimmer of hope or positivity, or something where you're looking for some kind of change. And expecting it to come, instead of looking at this as hopeless and you will never get out of this and there's no reason to even try. Everything in you is going to present as, maybe this is challenging and not where you really want to be. Maybe the situation is something you've avoided and haven't really wanted to just deal with, but ultimately you've got what it takes to get through this, and you're going to notice that in your body, where something's almost going to tell you that it's better to just deal with this than to have this nagging and hanging around you and, causing you to then like hold this energy that puts a cloud over all the rest of your dreams. Something is getting us to wake up to how we are able to be co-creators of our existence here. And something is showing us that through people around us, whether it's things connecting really quickly with you, or just where you get on these vibes with people and something's drawing you closer, or something's making you connect more to home, or something's connecting you to what's important. Through each other, we're really kind of gaining a lot of material right now in the news story that we do want to write about our lives. But realize that a lot of us are still out to sea and aren't actually landing where we want to be. So realize that you're looking at it, but it's not really here. And it's really asking you to, not buy into the naysayers, or not be distracted by these things that are keeping you from still knowing that you're on the way to this special land that you're going to be creating. And it's really important that all of us are really holding that within ourselves, knowing that that new world is right there, and we have to see it, and we have to want it, and we have to fight for it, and we have to not let anything get in the way, not let anything distract us from this thing that we do believe is possible. It seems that within heavier, denser areas, it's being asked that you hold this higher wisdom kind of way that's not reactive, and that can adapt and be around things without having it affect you. It may even be that you are needing to not share what you normally would. Honoring yourself, basically, is how I'm seeing this, in not getting into hot water just because it's there. Wisening in a way where you can see there's this thing here, and you could go in it and be like the wise mafia person who knows best and calls everybody out on what they're really doing, what they know that they're really doing. But it's kind of like something about this energy is saying, yeah, you might know what's going on. You might see things on a deeper level. You might be grasping this situation in a different way, but it doesn't mean you have to show that. It doesn't mean you have to put someone in their place. It doesn't mean you have to say anything. There's actually a lot of wisdom in picking the battles of what you want to get tangled in, because ultimately, if you throw that thing out there, you're going to get tangled in it. If you're going to go and put your opinion on whatever and whatever, it's going to be consuming you and being a part of your life for a while. So one of the things on the wisdom path of spirituality is picking your battles. And you'll always hear people say, and the older you get, the wiser you get, the more definite you are in picking those battles, in realizing that it's not negative to let something go, or to not use that opportunity to correct someone. That's actually not negative. If you're looking at something that has a 1% chance of you really getting through and making an impact, then why are you really pushing your agenda really? Is it some kind of wound with you? Is it some kind of thing with your ego? Is it some kind of thing where you've been hurt? You know, it's better to look into the depth of your own system to understand why you have problems with these things when there is so much more to give your attention to. This could be a moment of just let it go and move on. Move on. Let's go. Move on. Not that big of a deal. And I have to say, as I was sitting in that energy, I was really thinking of my youth, because I stood up over everything, and I've always been very, very hot-headed over injustice and using every kind of opportunity to declare what I believed to be the better ways. And now I've really seen that my world has become the reality. But along the way, as you hear from front runner activists, there's always this awakening that comes later in life where we're like, oh my gosh, I would have done it so different now. I would have learned to pick these battles. I would have learned to use the tone of my voice in different ways. Even like I had this great one the other day while out hiking, but this guy, he was running, and I went off track, which I never go off path at this point. And I suddenly went off path, and I went over to this space, and then this guy came up running behind us, and then my dog went after him, and then he got scared, and I was like, oh, my dog's so friendly. And he was like, yeah, but you never know. That's what everybody says. And he was kind of upset. And I was like, yeah, so sorry. I was like, you frightened him. And, you came up running. And I said, would you ever actually consider, wearing a bell so that you could notify people that you're coming? And he goes, you know what? That's not my responsibility. And I was like, oh, I know, totally. I don't mean like that, you need to do that. I said, the only reason is just that I've been out here walking and people can come running up behind me and I don't hear them until all of a sudden I hear pounding fast feet coming upon me. And I said, and it scared me before. It's given me trauma before. But then he got it. And then his whole defensive thing of, it's not my responsibility. He was suddenly like, oh yeah. And I hear you. But it was because of how I handled his defensiveness, because I didn't want to fight on anything. I had been wanting to tell runners that anyway, because it would piss me off. They would scare the fuck out of me. It was always like, I'm like, no, you can't do that. You can't come running off of someone who's just daydreaming out in nature. That's mean. But I remember just after this happened, it was so powerful because I was like, oh my gosh, we have so much power to influence if we don't get ticked off by everybody else. I could have been my old self who would have been like, well, I think it is your responsibility because you need a I mean, not that I would have done that, but someone could have been like, they could have gone into my side of the story in a defensive or victim kind of state, but I still was very supportive and, oh I know, I didn't mean it like that, but I was thinking, I've been out, and the whole way about it just bridged this really beautiful common, coming together understanding. And it was all in the way that I have healed myself enough to know how to talk better to people. And it's only been from talking to people in not the right ways that I learned this. So understand that you have these things right now and you have the power to really create a much better path through the ways that you're communicating and handling things with others. There is an old way that you've done it before, and there's a new way that you are to bring and to embody in this day and in this weekend. So expect to come forward and to really bring yourself in a new way and to see that things are going to ripple in different ways because of it. This should be exciting and to get you to want to use this power in even more ways, as it did for me. Now I'm really like, okay, who can I talk to that's challenging next? Okay, my loves, I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I will see you next week if we have any important energy updates. Okay, I love you. Have a beautiful day. Okay, bye. Hmm.